Hello, I'm Dean Zaris, founder and CEO of ClearFactr, a financial modeling platform purpose-built to allow you and your teams to solve spreadsheet dysfunction across the enterprise in record time. And what do we mean by spreadsheet dysfunction? Well, it may be any of these things, but today we're going to drill into our server-side API, and we're actually going to break down what is currently distilled in this little micro demo here, maybe a 15-second GIF with an explanation. We're going to take a look at this in real time, and we've got our development environment off to the right over here, also captured in that GIF. But we're going to open up this model and watch how the two things interact with each other. So we're reusing our login credentials from an earlier session. And up comes our modeling browser with the 182 models that I have access to, as opposed to the thousands that may be in my company. And I'm going to search for that particular model and open it up. So now we're going to use ClearFactr to just, as I've done with some other videos, remind you how this model works. So it's got these input cells and some formulas that produce results like this, the accumulated P&L in the fourth quarter of 2026, a forecast of that. And we'll use this feature, again, as we've shown elsewhere, to describe very quickly where this is coming from. So I can see that a commission rate and a cost of goods sold and some other stuff all conspire to create that forecasted accumulated P&L in the lower right corner. So again, a live spreadsheet, if I change it by hand and then undo and redo, you'll see things blinking over there. Now, one of the most important things, though, and most powerful things you can do with ClearFactr is tie this model or any particular model, or maybe hundreds or thousands of them, into your larger enterprise-wide systems and workflows where data is coming from any number of places, and you can process that data with the ClearFactr models and then grab results out of the models and send them downstream to other workflows, other systems, even other ClearFactr models. So if we click over to my dev environment over here, IntelliJ, with the actual ClearFactr source code just out of view, we've got some live code over here that we're going to run again right now, and it's connecting to our production API server, and it's interrogating this model, reading values out of this model. So we've got the total sales, total commissions, and total P&L, some time series. That happens to be over here. If I select these, not that one, this, and this. There we go. And we've got this sort of quick data exploration tool in graphs, because a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? We're not a graphing tool, but we can do simple graphs like this that often reveal interesting things. And so basically these numbers over here are the time series that you see in the graph. And up above, I've got what looks to be, it is a sensitivity table. We're looking at that projected number over here, the 191,710, with 5 combinations of commission rates and 5 combinations of cost of goods sold, 10 through 50, 1 through 9 in odd numbers. And everything else is a scenario with 2 inputs. So notice if I've got a commission rate of 10 and a cost of goods sold of 1, I can go back to the model and punch that in. And now the model says, yep, 762,910, which is exactly over here. And I could do that with any of the 25 other numbers. But how did we build this table? Well, the ClearFactr REST API doesn't have an endpoint that says, make me a sensitivity table with commissions and cost of goods sold. What I can actually do is take any number of input from the model, any number of the blue cells, let's say, and send as many combinations of those as I want to this endpoint and request any number of outputs back. So say the green cells. Now, in this case, I'm only asking for that one number, the one in the lower corner. But ClearFactr solution builders have built very elaborate things that throw thousands and thousands of combinations of market data and other things at models, get results back by the, again, thousands, maybe tens of thousands, and they do other very, very cool things downstream, integrating them with other systems. So that's sort of the way you can use the ClearFactr model as an extension of your larger system. And as we covered in the last video, through things like the scenario tool, when you change the model in a very controlled, collaborative way through the scenario tools of ClearFactr, you effectively change the behavior of your code downstream over here. Again, completely auditable. Now, let's show a couple other dimensions to this, no pun intended. We've got, let's turn this off. So if I actually change this to an odd number, 15, and this one to an even number, 6, and save it, I'm going to rerun the program over here. And notice how the commissions is now 178,000, which is over here, just like what it says, and 643,910 over here. But these numbers over here did not change at all. And that's because, again, completely in memory, the back end of the API servers at ClearFactr, it's accessing this model and all in memory computing these 25 combinations of commission rates and cost of goods sold and throwing the results back to us. And by the way, as many processes as you would like could do all of this all simultaneously. None of them would collide with each other. Everything is completely in memory. Everything is completely isolated. Now, what if we want to go the other way? What if we want to take data from my arbitrarily complex program over here and send it to the model? And by the way, this happens to be Java. You might have noticed that, but it could be TypeScript, it could be COBOL, it could be anything that's capable of making a REST API call. So in geeky programmer humor here, we're going to do a card trick. We're going to throw a card from 1 to 52 across the room, across the internet, over to the ClearFactr model over there. So some goofy number, the number 3, we're going to hit save, and we're going to run it. Live code again. And now you'll see the numbers did change a little bit over here. They changed over here because we made a permanent change to the model from this program. And look what happened over here on the ClearFactr side. Now I'm in the process of explaining this. I'll get rid of that. We've explained elsewhere how when 2 or more people work with ClearFactr models at the same time, we never simply take the newly computed numbers and in real time just change all the numbers that you're looking at. What happens instead is a little red button will appear over here, basically telling you, as it says, hey, there's one update available. When you're ready, click the red button. So we're going to do that. And lo and behold, there's the number 3 that we threw across the room from this program over here. And everything else downstream from that. In fact, let's just even take a look. So there we go. So at 6 generations, we don't quite explain that full thing, but I think as we've shown in another video, there, the Doppler tool will show how that affects all the way to the end of the chain. Let's wrap it up over there. This is just a tiny taste of what the API is capable of, all kinds of ways of reading data out of the model, all kinds of ways of putting things to the model, and most powerfully, perhaps, using the model as real-time, in-memory only calculators, extensions of your bigger systems. Please contact us for a more elaborate demo or discussion that's tailored to your needs. And until next time, keep watching for more videos. Thanks so much.